Welcome to the Healthpreneur podcast. My name is Uriel Kame, New York Times bestselling author, former professional athlete, and founder of Healthpreneur, the world's leading company helping health and fitness experts start and scale high-end coaching businesses. If you want to attract more clients, learn how to convert them without feeling salesy, and deliver an amazing program for them on the back end, if you want to be inspired by what others just like you have gone through and how you can do the same no matter what life throws your way, then you are in the right place, because every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to be bringing you the best to help you take your knowledge and expertise to the next level with your health or fitness coaching business. And if you enjoy what you see and hear and would like to take your business to the next level, then I invite you to check out our free online training over at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. And for now, let's get into today's episode. What's up, friends? Yuri here. A little bit of a different background today. It's a beautiful sunny day, so I decided to come up into the office with windows. And we are here with another edition of Between the Ears, which is one of our segments on the Healthpreneur podcast. I'm joined by Amy, Jackie, and Steph. And how you guys doing?
Very
Awesome.
You guys good? All right, cool. So just if you're watching this on video, I've got this pulse massager on my shoulders. So if my arm starts doing some weird stuff, you'll know why. That's doing its thing. Anyways, today's topic is not about massage and not about tight muscles. It's about growth mindset. So we talk a lot about mindset. Between the Ears, obviously, is the name of this segment. And one of the things that I think we've recognized as a team is that as long as someone is really good at what they do, in terms of like their skill set, being able to really help someone transform their health, and they have a good mindset in the sense of like they're willing to jump in, and they don't necessarily need to know how to do everything, but they have the mindset that says, I can figure this out, right? And I think a lot of people in the health and fitness space should have that mindset, at least if they're entrepreneurial, because listen, when we all went into school, none of us knew anything until we went through school, right? So we kind of learned things and we grew our mindset in that process. But let me ask you guys, like, what are some of the pitfalls that people can fall into if they don't have a growth mindset, and the opposite of a growth mindset, which would be a fixed mindset? And Carol Dweck, do you remember the name of her book, Steph?
What is it called?
It might just be called Mindset. I don't even know.
I think it is mindset something.
Yeah, it might just
Mindset's definitely the title.
Yeah, it might just be mindset. So in the book, she talks about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. But anyways, let's talk about what are some of the consequences of somebody living through life or building their business with a fixed mindset as opposed to being growth mindset oriented. Steph, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I think one of the biggest things that, and I'll just use this as an example. So what a lot of people end up coming to us with as a mindset coach, I'm a mindset coach and a results coach in the program, is I'm not good at tech. I'm really not good at tech. I'm really not good at tech. Well, guess what? If you keep repeating that to yourself over and over again, guess what? It's going to become fixed in your mind, when really it's just more challenging for you. But that doesn't mean that you can't figure it out by any means, especially because we have so many people on the team that help you walk through it. But when you have that in your mind that I am not good at tech, or I am not good at copywriting, or I'm not good at webinars, or I'm not good on camera, or whatever it is, it becomes very, very difficult for your mind to think of any other idea than you're not good at it, therefore you're going to fail at it. If you can think, okay, well, I'm going to figure this out. I have a proven system. I have coaches to help me. Let me just try, right? Or figure it out. So then all of a sudden these challenges, I think when you have a fixed mindset, and I'm a recovering fixed mindset person, so I totally understand how this feels. Any challenge that pops up, it feels like you just want to give up, rather than challenges help me expand, challenges help me grow, just like a muscle. That's, when I lift my bicep curl or do bicep curls in the gym, I'm challenging my muscle, so it helps me grow. And same in life. But what happens is that when you have that fixed mindset, it causes you just to give up before you've even started, because you've already told yourself ahead of time, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. So it's just something to really be mindful of and change your verbiage around it, because all it is a habit. That's all it is neurology that's built up over time, where you've repeated it. But you have a chance and a choice to change that neurology down a different path that will lead to way more success and happiness too. Because that's the other thing too, is when you have a fixed mindset, you can get super stressed out, really bummed out. You see challenges or failures as a dig on your own worth, rather than, oh, I'm going to learn from this and grow from this, right? There's a big difference between those two.
Yeah, that's really good. I totally forgot what I was about to say. Maybe it's all these muscle twitches going through my neck. Anyways, so if we look at, okay, yeah, now it's coming back to me. So, I mean, this doesn't happen all the time, but there are, I'd say, a decent percentage of people that we speak with who talk about, I've been burned before, right? I don't want to get burned again. And that's a totally valid comment. And it's actually sad that it happens, because it's really unfortunate that a lot of people get burned. But the challenging thing for me is that when that happens, it's almost like it's almost like getting into a relationship, being very, very cautious because the previous one didn't work out well. And now it's like all guys are pigs, right? Or all women or whatever. And I think what ends up happening is this, and I think life can have this effect on people, is where you have these goals and you want to achieve these things and it doesn't happen. And what started off as a growth mindset ends up becoming a fixed mindset, because you just don't want to get hurt anymore based on, I set this intention, it didn't happen, or I kind of put myself out there and invested in this program, or I dated this new person and look what happened again, right? I got hurt, it didn't work out, and now it's just completely fixed and closed-minded. And I actually shot an episode of for the podcast last week about this, because there was someone in our pipeline who was interested in working with us, but she was so fearful based on the fact that she'd been burned before that there was nothing I could say to help her overcome that. And so, Jackie, like, how would you address this if someone's coming in with wanting to grow, wanting to achieve a certain outcome, but they're so, maybe just based on experience, just so fearful and so fixed now based on all those things that have happened to them before? How would you address that?
Yeah, well, I always ask at the beginning of our calls, if they've ever worked with a coach before, a coaching company of that nature, whether it was one-on-one or group. And if they say yes, or they bring up the whole burning situation, then I ask, okay, what's the one thing that you'd change? Would have been different so that you wouldn't have felt or been, because when they say they've been burned, that means they just gave up in reality. Like, if you think about it, or they signed up for something that wasn't a right fit, but then that's just part of the reason they didn't investigate long enough, or the other company wasn't as transparent, which that's all now hindsight, right? But they went into even that relationship with a fixed mindset, right? Because they didn't grow from it. Or if you grow from something, you didn't get burned from it. You just grew from it, and you have a different way of talking about it, right? So I always ask, what's the one thing you can learn from that? And when they share that, 100% of the time, and I can say this now in the past year and a half, we are a part of that solution. And meaning that if they say, well, there wasn't enough Q&A time in the group, or the group was hundreds of people, right? Well, we don't allow hundreds of people per month to come in. We have, four calls that are live per week, and every question gets an answer, hands down, even if the calls have run over a little bit, right? There wasn't any one-on-one coaching available. Well, we offer that as well. So every single time we're part of the solution, which is great. Well, I don't share that right out of the gate, right? That's later, but at least I'm taking notes and understanding. And these are little nuggets that we're teaching our coaches to use, because they need these tools and ammunition. Because when someone says, oh, I need to lose weight, I'm a chronic yo-yo dieter, or my hormones are messing up my life, or all these crazy ailments and challenges in the health space that everybody is dealing with, they need these tools and nuggets to say, well, I bought that book, or I signed up for that program, and I've spent thousands of dollars in all this. It's like, okay, you're going to let them go? No, they are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they finally found you, right? So that's one little obstacle. I think I just kind of went on a whirly rant there. Sorry.
No, that's great. That's really good. I love that distinction of, if you were burned, you didn't grow. Because you can't get burned. Only victims get burned. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's just, I'm not trying to, be abrasive to anyone who may have been burned before, but the reality is, like we believe as individuals in our team, and just as a collective in our company, that like everything happens for us, right? Good or bad. Like we've gone through Like last year alone, 6 Facebook ad accounts shut down. It was not a fun 6 weeks.
Mine got shut down in the process because we were using it.
Like, that was not a lot of fun. But the reality is that we had the mindset to be like, you know what, we're going to figure this out because it's really important for us to figure this out, because if we don't, that's not good for our business. So I think when if you're on the receiving end of not the greatest experience, or however the situation might look like, it's such a great mindset shift to think about, like, how do I grow from this? How does this serve me? Even though it was, maybe not the best thing.
It's taking responsibility, and it's a maturity level, right? So even in a romantic relationship, just because it ends, it can be sad, or it can be like, thank God, right? But either way, if you look at it with growth and like, okay, what didn't I like about that relationship, or what did I like about that relationship? So now I can filter that, and the next one's going to be better, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go back and do the same thing over and over again and get the same result. And so with the fixed mindset, it's kind of like you're almost creating your own glass ceiling, right? And you're just going to keep bumping against it, keep bumping against it, keep bumping against it. But when you have a growth mindset, everything is possible. Yeah. Everything is literally possible. So, and when you have the right coaches to help you with that, because 99% of the time what stops us is between our ears. Mm-hmm. It's not even a secret sauce or formula or strategy or thing, right? And this is why we do these calls.
Well, it's such a good example too, because this one lady I was speaking to over email, she said, I need 100% certainty that this is going to work. And I told her, I'm like, I can't give that to you, because we know our process works. What we don't know is whether you work. Mm-hmm. And I told her, your results are 100% your responsibility. I said, we've had clients that have done $1 million a month and others that haven't done anything. What's the difference? It's the same strategy. What's the difference? And, when you have, and we're sharing this, if you're watching this and you're obviously coaching clients, you're going to have clients who are asking this stuff of you as well. Like, I need to be sure this is going to work. Why is it going to be different than every other diet that I've done before? And you need to be in a position where you should never be explaining yourself, because a lot of times that client's probably not even a good fit to work with you, right? Because they don't have the mindset to be willing to grow and understand that they're responsible for the results, right? You can't do their setups for them, right? You can't put their food in your mouth and expect them to get the change, right? So they have to step up, and they have to be, of that mindset. And that's the beautiful thing about coaching, is that you choose who you want to work with, just like we choose who we want to work with. Amy, I'll let you jump in here. What are some of the things that you see with maybe some of our clients that have been able to push through some barriers, being more growth oriented with their mindset?
Yeah, this is a great topic, because there's really 3 things that I see. First, that suffering is familiar. So even though it's painful and it sucks, we know it. So if my business isn't working and my business isn't working and my business isn't working, it's that same loop that Stephanie talked about, but it's familiar, it's not working. Some people, believe it or not, when they start making the money and making the impact and things are going everything they wanted, they get scared because they don't know how to be in that place. So that's why visualization and really feeling what it feels like to have what you want is a really important habit to incorporate. And knowing that the new suffering, or it doesn't even have to be suffering, but the discomfort is just that unknown, right? It's just a fear of the unknown. We know what we want. It's kind of like, explorers sailing across the ocean when they were told that the world was flat. And they're like, I know the world's not flat. I know I can get over there. I don't know what that's going to look like. And maybe I'm going to fall off the earth, but I'm going because I know, right? So that brings me to my second point is, what if you did know, right? So what if instead of saying, but I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to set up my ads manager, I don't know how to set up my schedule once, or I don't know how to submit for a webinar review, what if you stopped for a moment and just said, well, what would I do if I did know, right? So if you did know, we've got an amazing, great new resource sheet now that's super simple. You've got people to lean on to ask, but before you start jumping into, I don't know, and kind of freaking out frenzy, how empowering is it to say, what would I do if I did know? Mm-hmm. Or what would Yuri do? What would Stephanie do? What would Jackie do? What would Amy do? What would Phyllis do? And do that. And when you've done those things, this is how I go into when I ask questions like of a chat, I say I've done all these things because they inevitably say, did you read this? I mean, one time with AAA, they asked me if I tried starting the car. Duh. Yes, I know you're reading from a script, but I did try starting that. So do all those things. And when you truly are like, I can't find the answer, then that brings me to my third point. You want to lean on someone who does know. And you want to have that person who can reach down and pull you up. Not that's going to prop you up, but that's going to help you get to where you want to go because you've been there. And this might be a weird example, but yesterday marked, I think it was 23 years since my dad passed away. And so I was thinking about like just growing up and all these memories of my dad. And I have this memory of being a young child with a nightgown on. And I'm in I came up early in the morning and I was like in my parents' bed, and my nightgown is like going crazy with static electricity. So it's like kind of stinging and it's lighting, and my whole nightgown's like lighting up. And I looked to my parents, like it was kind of cool, but I was scared, right? But my parents at that time were my coaches. They smiled, they knew what it was. They were able to tell me how cool it was, and like it wasn't going to light on fire or anything, right? So that's what we do for all of you, for all of our clients, and all of you who are going to join us. We're there to say, yeah, that's okay. Your Facebook ads, your numbers you're getting registrants for a higher dollar amount than you wanted, but you're enrolling them at $3,000 to $5,000. That's okay. So we're going to be that person to say, we've been there, we've done that, we understand the numbers. So it's really getting out of that comfort of suffering, right? Asking yourself, what would I do if I did know? And then leaning in for that support when you truly can't find the answer. Yeah. And that's just going to be empowering for all of you, whether you're working with us now or will in the future, or you're listening in.
That's good. Reminds me, so I was just putting together some new ads, and one of them was a slow motion video. When I was in Greece, we had like a day on a yacht with some friends, and we're out in the Aegean Sea. It's friggin' cold, windy, and we're like, how often am I going to be out here? Like, how often am I going to come to this exact spot? I want to jump in the water here and give it a go. And I'm thinking, like, I was cold just wearing clothing. So I'm like, am I going to put my bathing suit on and do this? And I thought to myself, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to regret not doing this, right? And it's like, I'm a decent swimmer. I can figure it out when I'm in the water, and it's going to be okay. So I jumped in, and it was so cold, so salty. Definitely some shrinkage happened, but it was well worth it because I was in there for about 20 minutes, and the current was so strong that I was swimming, but I was staying stationary. So it was actually a really good workout. And when I look back on that, it was like, had I not done that, I never would have had that experience. And I'm so happy that I did do it, because now, I mean, I can always remember what that was like. And it gives me a reference point for other things that may feel uncomfortable, but I know that if I do them, are going to be good for me. And I think it's, it's, as entrepreneurs, it's very easy to get paralyzed by fear, because we want certainty in so much of the things we do, right? We want to be certain that this is going to work out or whatever. But I think it's important to lean in and really look at yourself to be like, okay, this is a program, this is a solution, this is a whatever. Does this fit how I want to move forward with my business? And if the answer is no, that's totally fine, right? Go to something else that does. But if the answer is yes, then there's going to be a certain amount of uncertainty you don't know about, like, because you don't know how it's going to work out, when it's going to work out, all this stuff. But the thing about being growth-minded is just the belief that I will figure this out. That's really what it comes down to. And I think, as we've been talking, but I think it's one of the most important traits of successful people, not just entrepreneurs. And I'll share one last story. When I launched my first book, The All Day Energy Diet, which became a #2 New York Times bestseller, I decided to take on a huge risk, which I said was going to be, I'm going to do whatever I can to hit the #1 spot on the New York Times list. And that involved me putting in $300,000 into this launch, which basically meant I was going to buy all these books, and then we were going to give them away for free with shipping. Obviously, the customer would pay. So we spent 9 months testing all the stuff out, testing our funnel, finally got to the point where we were really confident, where we knew it was going to work. And When just before the week of launch, I had to submit the money to the marketing company we're working with for the distribution of books. So they needed $300,000 on a Monday morning. I didn't have the money leading up to that. I had about half of it. And then I had a friend/colleague who said, listen, I'll send you, or I'll front the rest at whatever interest rate we had determined. On the Friday, he pulled out. So like literally 2.5 days before the money was due, he pulled out. And I'm like, I was at the lowest of lows at this point. And I started doing, like I said, okay, dude, you can have a little meltdown for a second, but then you need to get back up and figure this out. Because if you don't, this whole thing is like, it's gone. And so I got super uncomfortable, and I just texted and emailed and called everyone I possibly knew, and I just asked them for money. Like it was the worst case, like the worst position I've ever been in. But I knew that I was going to figure this out, and I had to, because obviously it would have been a disaster otherwise. So I'm not suggesting you have to take a $300,000 risk on what it is you're doing, but you have to believe in yourself that you can figure things out, or that you can lean into other people who can help you figure it out. And like Amy, you talked about, sometimes people, they kind of sabotage themselves because they don't know what it's going to be like when they have certain success. And I can relate to that because I actually held myself back, I think unconsciously, where I was like, the more success I have, the more complications are going to be. I don't know how to figure all this stuff out legally, corporately, whatever. And then I had a shift, and I said to myself, well, if I can't figure it out, I probably know someone who can. And I was like, okay, well, cool. Well, I'll just speak to my lawyer or speak to my accountant or ask someone else who's already done this. And all of a sudden, that fear went away. So as we talked,
Gary, I was going to say, I used to have a sticky note. We just moved, so I don't have it available right now, that says figure it out or hire it out. It's one or the other. Exactly. Like there's no non-negotiable. There's no give up. There's no like, if it's something that's a passion and in my goals and my plans and my intentions for my life on a day-to-day basis, month-to-month basis, it's either going to be figured out or it's going to be hired out.
Yeah, I love it.
And we do both, which is awesome, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good. So if you're watching this, I'd love to know in the comments. Well, Irene's already just pumped in a little comment, actually a couple minutes ago. She was in relation to what Steph had said. 100% agree with you. How we speak to or about ourselves is the most important thing. It's very, very true. That internal dialogue is, you're going to be with that internal dialogue every single day. So it's got to be good. So if you guys have enjoyed this one, let us know obviously in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. If you're listening to this on the podcast on iTunes and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, like, yeah, I do have a growth-oriented mindset. I'm willing to, move my business to the next step. Not really sure how, but I'm going to invite you, like I always do, to do two things. Number one is to watch our online training. It's pretty much an online workshop called the 7-Figure Health Business Blueprint. You'll get a really good sense of what not to do in terms of building your business and a better sense of what to do based on just years of experience of having done this and obviously helping a lot of clients go through this process. If it resonates with you and you're like, you know what, this makes sense, I can see myself building my business in this manner, then we'll have a link near the end of the training. Click on that link and you'll be able to book a time to chat with us. And we'll get on the phone with you, we'll figure out where you are, where you want to go, kind of what's holding you back, and we'll see if there's a good fit to work together. At the very minimum, you'll walk out with a lot more clarity. And if there is a good fit and you want to continue the relationship and help us or have us help you build out your business to help you get more clients and scale your coaching, then we can certainly help you do that if there's a good fit. So to get all that started, just go to healthpreneurgroup.com/training. And that's what I'd like you to do right now. So thanks so much for joining us. Amy, Jackie, Steph, once again, thank you so much, guys, for all your great insight and wisdom. And hope you guys have enjoyed this one. See you in the next episode. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Healthpreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, here's what I'd like you to do right now. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Healthpreneur podcast on iTunes. And while you're there, leave us a rating or review. It helps us get in front of more people and change more lives. And if you're ready to start or scale your health or fitness coaching business and want to start getting in front of more people, working with them at a higher level without trading time for money, then I invite you to check out our free 7-Figure Health Business Blueprint training, totally free right now. And you can do so at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. For now, thank you so much for joining us. Continue to be great, do great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.